Well, hey everyone, welcome to my new workshop. So, I guess I owe a little bit more detailed explanation to you guys. We'll get right started and see what 2020 is going to have in store for us. So, right off the bat, I gotta say, the title for this video is a little indicative of what I'm going to talk about today. I am going to be talking, it's going to be a little bit of show and tell as well because it involves a few things. First of all, I did successfully move into my new home. I want to go back a little bit since everything was just sort of extremely truncated. So the Mustang project, I started on that, had full intention of it. My wife and I had been kicking around the idea for a while about moving maybe in the spring or late spring, just to sort of get the kids through the school year because we didn't know exactly where we would end up. And then to prioritize the move, I wanted to meet with our realtor. So he said, well, let's just take care of a couple of things and sell it right now. You'll make a great profit and get you into a new place. So we said, okay. Uh, and here we are. We met with our realtor just before Halloween and listed shortly thereafter. The house was under contract in a day. We got under contract for this house the day after, and just after Christmas, we moved in. Um, so, because of that, I had filmed a number of things for the Mustang project before and sort of during that whole time that just sort of didn't, it wasn't entirely coherent. So for that, I apologize, and I appreciate your patience during the whole move. We're mostly unpacked at this point, but I want to give a special shout out and thank you, especially to, to Carl, Joel, Patrick, and Ryan for coming to help. These are some flight test guys that I know, and they did a bang up job coming out to help me move, help my family move, and get things really rolling. It was amazing. They got all my airplanes out of storage, especially, and they also helped with the bulk of moving all the furniture. It was a good time, and we were really very humbled by the help that showed up for that. To sort of outline the purpose of the move, it's really family focused. Our kids are getting older, and we want to set up for the next stage of their lives. So really, all of this is focusing on them, which is why I made the sacrifice in finding the home that we did. I have a completely unfinished basement, as I'm sure you can tell. I've got insulation on the walls. My stuff is sort of everywhere. The shop is new. All right. So got a new home, and now I'm on to the new shop. And the new shop is a nice open nook here in my basement. Uh, to the side over there is where all of my airplanes are living. I've got all my tools and construction stuff around me. Still have my big printer for printing plans. Unfortunately, one of the downsides is that there's a lot of noise down here because the furnace is right over there, and it blows a lot because it's winter, and I'm sure it will blow lots because it will be summer soon. So that's one of the trade-offs. I do have a boom mic up here, so if you see that in camera shots, that's why, because the directionality of that microphone is going to help eliminate a lot of that noise, or at least as much as I can down here. I'll try to learn some new techniques in terms of sound processing to try to eliminate some of that for you guys, but I'm doing the best I can. It's a new shop, it's a new adventure, so we're in it together, and it's going to be fun either way. The other thing I had to address down here was that this whole space had a single light bulb. And as you can see, I installed these massive, massive lights above me. And it's really, really great. I have plenty of light for working. And I installed daytime or daylight colored light bulbs in order to help me see colors as I build models. It's really important, I've found over the years, is to have the appropriate color lighting in your workshop. Unfortunately, what it means is that I have all of this light up here and not enough light here to film. So I'm going to do as best I can to try to pick up some front lighting There's some options on Amazon that I'll be looking at just to get some forward face lighting so that this looks a little bit better, a little bit more polished and professional. And we'll see how we go. I mean, I do have my standard LED lights, but it's just not enough for how much light this puts out. It just gets washed out. So one of the other things that is new in the shop is this workbench. Now, the workbench is one of the $150 woodworking benches from Harbor Freight. I also picked up some fully castering and locking wheels from there as well. They've got really nice feet that rolls around nice and smooth. And one of the things that I wanted to do in this space, because it's so big, is to have a bench to work on the model and work around the model. I found that over the years I've had situations where I've like tripped over a part, or a part has fallen because it's on a table and something gets hooked. And so I'm going to try this new method of building, and I think it bodes well for film as well, because I can show a bigger picture and I can point out to different things. I can also get a whiteboard for doing some instruction things. So I have some ideas for the shop, maybe some pegboard to hang some things, just to make it a little more visually interesting than the white background. It's pretty stale. But if you guys have suggestions for anything in the workshop, please leave them in the comments below. I'm welcome to new ideas because I'm starting fresh here. I've got lots of stuff, but I can change the layout. I can change the background. We're not looking to finish the basement right away, so please keep that in mind. I'm looking for cheap alternatives for now, okay? To the meat and potatoes of the video, really the plan for the hobby. Okay, so I'm going to start with events. Okay, so 2020 is set to be kind of a crazy year for me. I am still planning on attending CEF in Georgia in the spring. I'm planning on traveling down with Carl for that. Going to make that happen. That's in the last week in April going into May, spanning my birthday again. It's going to be a great time. After that, the next event is going to be Flight Fest in July. Not sure how I feel about this one. The unfortunate news is I am involved in a research project that I am co-leading with a co-worker, and we are in the process of submitting an abstract for acceptance to a conference. A while ago, some of you who know me personally, I went to this conference. It happens every other year. And I went to this conference previously and won an award. So it's kind of a big deal in my industry. Not to mention this year, it's in Rome, Italy. Rome, Malvern. I mean, both are pretty great. I've never been to Italy. So I should know whether or not I'm going to that conference sometime in March. So I haven't fully decided whether or not I'm going. That will be the deciding factor. Otherwise, I will absolutely be going. It is possible that I could make like Saturday, because the conference ends on Thursday, but I would be traveling back like Thursday into Friday and then get home sometime and then maybe come up early Saturday morning. I don't know. That would be crazy, but we'll see. Local events. I will absolutely be doing local events. Warbirds over Gettysburg, Airplanes of the World. That's in Laurel at Free State Aeromodelers. And then we've got, Warbirds over Boyd's. Love going to DCRC. They have a phenomenal facility, so I am planning on going there again. Other than that, let's get on to the builds. The builds. Okay, so bad news here. The Mustang Project. The Mustang Project, unfortunately, is going to be put on hold. The reason is my building season essentially wraps up or ends around my birthday. It always has, because weather here turns around then. It's good flying weather. So that's CEF is sort of the cutoff. And if you look at the dates for CEF and where we are now, I've got a little less than I've got a little less than 4 months to get this airplane built, detailed, tuned, and learn how to fly with this mechanism. It's too short. It's just too short. I will come back to the Mustang Project. This has been a really great journey I've learned a lot. I know this is a reliable system, so stay tuned. I'll probably come back to this in late summer, getting into early building season, because I am still very excited about this project. So stay tuned for that. All right, so up next is what I'm actually going to be building and what I do have time for. 2 years ago, when I attended CEF for the first time, met up with a guy there that I've known through RC groups, John Morgan. I love the guy. He does a phenomenal job building, and picked up this Top Flight F8F Bearcat that's mostly built. The wings are right over there. This is a great example of what you can do with something you pick up fairly inexpensively. I picked this up from John for $75, and it needs to be finished, and I'm going to finish it. One of the things I have been able to pick up arrived just today. This is the old canopy. It's very yellow, and rather than mess with that, Park Flyer Plastics, man. Keith Sparks got a replacement cowl for $7. You just can't beat that. $7 versus trying to fix that. This is garbage. All right, going beyond that, the ailerons and flaps need to be built, and I've already started building my ailerons out. Just using some balsa, downloaded plans, got them printed off. And the tail planes also need to be rebuilt. These were originally built as solid, and I do want to try to keep this somewhat scale, so it's not too much work to rebuild these with the ribbing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, lighten up the tail a little bit as well. I also already have this 4-blade prop, which should do great. It's a Motion RC prop, and I'm going to make this work too, so it's nice and scale static as well. I'm planning on using a 6-cell setup to turn that, just because it is a little bit beefy. I'll probably be going with either a Motion RC motor that corresponds to this prop, or using one of the Flight Test Monster radials. Each one will power the Bearcat just fine, but the Bearcat was a very fast airplane, and I want that to be reflected as well, and keep the 4-blade prop. So it's going to be kind of a beefy motor and running on 6 cells. Other than that, we've got the cowl. The cowl has some holes in it for a glow engine, and also in efforts to rearrange the shop, the cowl did get dropped, and so it cracked, but I was able to re-glue that. But I'll go over some steps on this, on how to apply fiberglass to the inside, and then using Bondo, I'll fill in these holes. I'll smooth everything out, so I'll have a much better finish. There's also a modification to this cowl that makes it a better profile. This is the exact same cowl that Top Flight provided for my Corsair build. It's a very cylindrical cowl, and the Bearcat is just not. It has a very different profile, but it's a fairly easy modification, so I'll go over that as well. I also have retracts for the Bearcat, so all of this stuff is going to come together pretty quickly since the airplane is already mostly built. Just got to do some modifications, add some reinforcements, and do a surface finish, throw on some glass with water-based polyurethane, and paint it. It's going to be a good time, should be easily done before CEF, which brings me to what is after that. So time permitting, I've been working on and off over the past couple of years as my interest has waned on a Dare Design and Engineering Focke-Wulf 190. This is an ARF in a very loose sense in terms of what we think of today. This was at the beginning of the ARF kind of craze in the late 90s. So it has a tiny air retract system that I've got for it. It's a fairly small plane, wingspans like that. I started to make it a little bit more complex than it needed to be, namely scale flaps. It's just going to add more weight, and I'm going to simplify that and just plow through it and have another airplane to throw around the sky. Along the way, I have some repairs on some things to do. My Dauntless, the retracts. I freaking hate grub screws. I don't know about you guys, but grub screws always seem to strip, and they don't seem to have a whole lot of holding force when they're small. Really what the Dauntless gear needs is bigger grub screws. So I've got to drill out since I use Loctite and they're stripped, the grub screws need to come out, so I've got to drill those out, whatever, so I can get bigger grub screws. The Oleos on that tend to twist, and that creates a toe out situation, which causes a lot of ground handling issues when you land. The Corsair needs the exact same treatment. Even though I'm running Robart rotating retracts, it has the same issue, mostly because the airplane is a little overweight for what the retracts are intended for. And most of that is because to get a bigger retract, I need a thicker wing, which obviously I couldn't do. So I'm going to have a look at that and see if I can get the Corsair flying again this season as well. The P-47 is doing great. No damage so far. Wanted to fly it last fall at my club's event. We have a fry and fly event in November. It was a little windy that day, so I didn't fly it. But what I noticed is during the summer months and going to events, the sunblock that I had on my arms when I would reach around to hold the plane or anything, the sunblock got on the aluminum and left some oxidation stains. Now, I've tried buffing these out with polish, the polish that I have, and it doesn't want to come out. So a club member of mine recommended the solution. I'm going to try and see if it reduces the oxidation, see if I can maybe try to get rid of it. I mean, from 10-15 feet away, you kind of can't see it, but to me, because it's got so many details up close, once you get close and you see it, it kind of ruins the look. So that I need to really try to get through, and I'll give you guys an update on that as it comes. Other than that, I am just settling into my home, spending time with my family, trying to let my feet recover. If you remember, it's about this time last year I broke my ankle, and that was pretty hard to work through with the P-47 build, but I managed okay. And I want you guys to know that it has been a great experience to meet up with all of you. I look forward to a great flying year, a great building year, and being able to bring to life some of these models and keep them flying and letting other people enjoy them just as much as I had building them. And you know, it really is a wonderful community that we belong to. With that, I was just gonna say I'm gonna keep building with you guys, and I want you guys to give me feedback, give me questions. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Follow me on Instagram, as I'll post little pictures as I go, and then you can get the full detail story once I have the video updates. I appreciate the support. Again, really appreciate it. It's been a great 2019 and looking forward to 2020. And we're going to build some more flying works of art.
Meant to take something at the edge of space.